What if I told you that as your protagonist is making a journey, you are making a parallel journey as the author? I remember the first time I heard that in a writing group, and I thought, that seems odd. But with experience, I thought, yeah, that's what's happening. And that's what's happening here now. This is the third conversation with Annie. And yep, I forgot to record the intro and the outro. And yep, just as Annie's protagonist is heading into the second half of the story where things get challenging and difficult and hard, Annie might be feeling some of those things herself. We'll find out. Where we last left off with conversation two, Annie was sure about her beginning, and she felt good about things coming up to the midpoint, wasn't so sure about the midpoint. So let's see what happens in this conversation number three with Annie Hutt.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are you feeling about talking about your story today?
I went back and read more about the redemption and I'm liking it more. I
Ooh.
think I may be switching
Okay.
genre.
Okay. All right. I want to show you something because we had that email exchange where we talked about the dimensions of external order and chaos and internal stasis and change. And I really like this way of looking at it. So I want to share my screen. Okay, you can see that. So that's the StoryJoules model taking out everything except for the 7 jewels. And what I like is to remind myself that order and chaos is here. And so that's why that split at the I gotta go is so significant from an external
Yes.
perspective, and the return changed is so significant. Those are the two like flip points on the external dimension of order and chaos. And then in the internal dimension of stasis and change, that's why that mindset shattering midpoint is so important. It's the fulcrum of the story.
Yes. Yes, I like that.
Okay, good. I'm adding it to the Story Jewels handbook because I like it so much. I think it's a helpful way to remember what's going on underneath all of the stuff that all the plot stuff that's happening.
Right, right. And so you're just going to keep them separate.
I'm going to keep the internal and the external genre pages separate. So these are the internal questions, right, on the internal dimension. And potentially we're at redemption if it's atonement for past wrongs. This is external, but then what I'm keeping separate is these. So the external dynamics page from the internal dynamics page, so that when you're sorting through what are my story dynamics, you're not looking at one page with all of them mingled together. You're either looking at the internal dynamics or the external dynamics. And I have one with the human dimension added and one with it without it.
So my internal will change from worldview to redemption, but the external will still be
Love, right? Because
love, I think. Yeah.
yeah, the question is, how is she experiencing the pressure? What's pressing on her to change? Is she being, is her physical body threatened? Not so much. Is it justice versus injustice? Is it no? Is she experiencing evil? No. Is it she's experiencing pressure through her relationship? Yeah. Her relationship with Frank, her husband, her relationship with Jason, her relationship with Nathan.
Right, right. Yeah.
So yeah. So
At
yeah,
one
you're
time, well, you don't have it. At one time, I had thought society only because there's so few choices for stories that aren't action, crime, and or horror.
yeah, how society frequently I find society is often a thread because what it does so well is it highlights disparity. And sometimes you have a relationship disparity, but that relationship disparity is resting on a societal disparity. So it could be economic difference. It could,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So you
Or
may
there's just
very,
a power differential, like
yeah,
between mother and child.
yeah, there is.
But I think love is just more encompassing.
Yeah, and it's the only one that's internal and external.
Well, so the thing that I really liked about your stasis and change and your chaos and order is that when
Yeah,
you put them, when they overlay, then you can see,
yeah.
I can see where I'm going from.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. You can be sure that in the break from order into chaos and then again from chaos into order, your protagonist is taking a step and they're either stepping into chaos or they are stepping into them creating order in their currently disorderly world.
right. And then when you have the stasis, then the mind shattering midpoint, That's where the protagonist is also coming to a revelation or
Yeah.
something happens that makes them see things differently.
Yeah, and that one can be sneaky for authors because it's often a little thing, but it's a little thing that reveals a huge thing. So externally it might not look like much.
Right.
It's the gladiator finding out, oh, he can appear before the emperor if he becomes a great gladiator. And so now he's going to choose to fight instead of not fight. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and like for Jason in my story, it's
Mm-hmm.
his moment where he realizes, why am I taking care of mom? Why am I worrying about this stuff when I'm going to just go do whatever I feel like doing. So I'm going to be a little crazy maybe
Yeah.
if I want to and see what that's like. And then he has to come around to figuring that that's not really who he is or how he wants to be. But
That's for Jason. For her wasn't her mindset shattering midpoint when Frank tells her that he doesn't know who she is anymore?
no, that's her.
That's her all is
All is
lost.
lost.
Right,
Her
right.
mind shattering is when she
Oh, and she
realizes that she
realizes
really cares about this boy.
yeah, she's not just doing a good deed. She really does care about him. That's right. That's
Exactly.
right. I remember now.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I went through, I was just writing down before we got together of just my little list of things that
Cool.
she's doing. That, she starts out with she can't move out of her grief. And
Yeah.
then the light makes her feel better.
Right.
And then she just wants to be around the light,
Yeah.
however that is.
Yeah.
And the I gotta go moment is when she goes, I gotta do something. I'm not getting enough of the light. And so
Mhm.
she hires him Nathan to do stuff for, but she still only
Yeah.
really wants him for the light. She
Yeah.
doesn't really care about him. She starts to see him though as a real person and starts to have compassion. And then Jason finds out
Yeah.
and kind of blows her out of the water. And so what does she tell her family? Just trust me. This is okay. This is going to work out. It'll be fine, right? Because she really hasn't made any changes and she
No.
doesn't see that she's not trustworthy.
Yeah. That's what I love about it. Trust me. Well, even though
Yeah.
I'm not trustworthy, but she doesn't see it. Yeah, I love that. I love when we're so deluded like that.
And then she has her mind shattering moment, which is she helps him with the teacher. She says she's his advocate, really. And he's never
Wow.
had anybody advocate for him.
Yeah.
And this is just what a mom does.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
she advocates and realizes she's got a much stronger connection to him than she originally thought. And then there's also this little twist in there. As a family, this is before the all is lost moment. They go and meet this boy, Adam, who happens to have Kevin's heart.
Oh, the heart recipient. So Kevin was a heart donor. Okay.
So they go over to his birthday party and they see him. And this makes her really feel like part of the family and like this is so good, except that Jason doesn't do very well with this.
Yeah.
Pretty rattling for him,
Yeah.
but for her, it really makes her see what a gift it is, and she's less thinking that it's so unfair that God would do this
Take her son.
because she sees this whole family embracing this boy just like they
Mm.
would Kevin if he were in that position,
Yeah.
and they have this heart for him. And then Frank comes in and says, I don't trust you.
I love the timing on that because it's like she's lifted up by this experience and then Frank, boom.
Right. And it also might be a little bit because of the way she handles Jason, who's
Mm.
not doing well with this, and she doesn't quite understand why, and you need to get with the program, and isn't this, and he's not doing it.
Yeah.
So then Frank comes, and so then she has to, well, it takes her a while because she's trying to be more open with Jason, and that's not really going anywhere. She can't connect with Frank because he won't do it. And then she just finally sits down with Frank and tells him everything. So
Yeah.
now she comes
Finally
back,
comes clean.
right. And now she
Yeah.
comes back in a new place.
Yeah.
She's seeing things a whole lot differently. And Jason still isn't quite. He's still in his dark night of the soul.
Sure. He's mourning his brother. He's
Yeah.
mad at her for betraying him as
And
he
he's finding
sees
out
it.
stuff about his friends that he didn't know that isn't good, that
Okay.
they are actually doing illegal stuff. And that's kind of set him like, what do I do with that? And he doesn't, he doesn't
Yeah.
want to be a part of it, but he can't talk to his mom about it because he
Right.
doesn't want to hear it. I told you so. I told you.
Right. I
He
told you
isn't
not to
great.
hang with those boys. Yeah. That
And
crowd.
so they get into, but he misses curfew at one point, and that really sets mom on edge. That kind of sets her back a little bit
Yeah.
about, she's open and all of this, but Jason, you got to meet me here. You got to meet
Yeah.
me halfway, and he can't do it. And so then they have another argument and he leaves, and really he's leaving to go right or wrong because these boys have figured out a way to put evidence in Nathan's garage to make him look
Ooh.
like the guilty one. And
Okay.
he gets wind of that and he's got to stop that.
Yeah.
But he's not telling his mom about it.
Right.
And so he runs off to do that. And they don't know where he is. So she
Yeah.
and Frank go looking for him.
Yeah.
But Sarah stays at home,
Huh?
and Sarah lets them know that the police have them, both Nathan and Jason.
The police have both the boys. Okay.
Uh-huh. So
Oh,
they go
that's
to,
awkward too.
right, exactly. So they don't know now what he's done.
Yeah.
And she asks him what happened versus, how could you be so stupid? What did you do wrong? Why did you?
Right.
But
She
more of what
told
happened? How
yeah.
did this happen? And
She's
so
in her new being, her new
she's
way
in
of
her new
being.
being. She's in her new being. And then the new world is that she finds out Nathan needs a home, and she talks to the family about that.
Yeah.
And they're discussing it, and they go to Kevin's grave with everybody. It's a new beginning in a way.
Yeah.
She sees the hope, and also she sees the hope of life, that this is awful. She'll never get necessarily over it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but she's gotten through it.
Wow. How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling a lot better about it, actually. So I have to thank you for that. I feel a lot better about it. It's interesting because at 4 o'clock in the morning, I think I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to give it up. I don't need the pressure.
Writing?
I don't need
Writing?
feeling like it's not good enough. I'm not getting it
Yeah.
right, stuff. And then, but each day I get up and go, well, just keep working on it. Do something.
Yeah.
And so then when I do this kind of stuff, it's like, well, you've got a story. The least you can do is just get it out. Get it out
Yeah.
and get it to a place where you think it's pretty well written. And that may be all you do,
Yeah.
but you at least have that done.
Yeah. You will. And you have a story. You have a story you just talked to me all the way around it, right?
Right.
Yeah, you took me through all 7 of the jewels, the dig down deeper. She displays herself as being different. You're going to have fun writing that. I just know it. It's, when she's, instead of her attacking Jason, she's questioning,
Right.
what happened? What's going on?
Well, because also throughout this, she becomes a better sister to her sister.
Oh, nice.
They've been sort of at each other, and she meets her with a new understanding. And
Yeah.
her sister, is dating Jane's husband's best friend,
Okay.
Frank's best friend.
Frank's best friend. Yep.
And she's just a recovering alcoholic of less than a year.
Uh-huh.
And she ends up pregnant.
Ooh.
And so Jane has to sort of come to the forefront and be
And
okay.
she's older too, right? Because
She's 39.
Yeah.
The sister's 39. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Jane's in her 40s.
Yeah.
But the sister's 39.
Yeah.
And so she kind of has to go,
Wow.
right. Well, this is the new way of things. And
She's not trying to control it all anymore.
right.
Which
and
is
she can
really
be more of a support of
yeah.
this is what you're doing. And
Yeah. I just feel like I'm breathing a sigh of relief with her. You know what I mean? Like she was so trying to hold everything together, control things. And now she's just, I'm just going to support.
life.
This is
Right.
life. People
This
make
is
their
life.
own choices.
Right. But part of it was from the death of Kevin was this, if I just hold it together, I can keep the rest of my family safe. I just have to be vigilant. I have to be more vigilant than I was.
It's her fear, right? She lost one, she can't lose the other two. And then she ends up, by virtue of behaving that way, losing her husband temporarily, but emotionally losing Frank.
So I put a big precedence on fear. I think that is really important. Fear and love, I've heard, are the 2 main emotions. And then I was listening to a podcast with Brene Brown.
Yeah.
She talks about it's the things you do because you're afraid that are the most important things to look at, because that's what keeps you down. That's what keeps the walls up.
Yeah.
which I thought was just sort of an interesting take on it. I don't know that I totally agree with it, but it did make me think more about, what are the things that we do when we get afraid?
Yeah.
How do we handle the world then when we're living in that kind of fear?
Yeah.
And so for Jane, it was to be more, in some ways, more controlling, kind of like her mother.
Oh, of course. Our mothers always surface, or so often
I
surface.
know. And she realizes that's not the way she wants to be.
Yeah.
That's what her mother has done.
Yeah.
But that's not the way she wants to be about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just been really interesting for me to do
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I just love it when you can get me to think about it in different ways.
Oh, I'm glad because the thoughts are there, right? It's just a different prompt that brings it forward. I had another thought too, because as I was working, not directly related to your story, but indirectly, as I was working on this updated version to the StoryJoules, I added something called Test Your 7 Joules, which you just did with me at talking through your story. And then I have questions by quadrant. And so if you would like, I could send you this and you can ask yourself these questions
I
about,
would love that.
I think this is helpful. Um, but I would love to know what you think. And does it prompt ideas or does it make you feel like, yep, I got this, I got this, I got that. You know what I mean? I just think
Right,
it'd be,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So I will send you that after we hang up and we
All
can
right,
meet again.
I love that. I love that. No, didn't you have something?
I did. I had questions that quadrant in there once before, and then I took it out because people said, Jule, you're giving too much away for free. But now that I'm just sort of like giving it all away for free, I'm just putting everything in there that I think makes a great, complete, useful tool.
Okay, because I want to say I have it in my Scrivener. Let
Oh,
me see.
yeah.
Do I
Okay.
have
So
it?
maybe you've already done it then.
I don't know that I've done it. I just have
Oh,
it.
it'd be good to do it again, even if you've done it, because it'll make me feel good.
Right. It was, how did you start this?
Plus, you're in a
Opening
different
image avatar. Is that how you start it?
opening image. Yeah. It starts with the opening image. Yeah, I don't use the word avatar anymore because it wasn't necessary. It was just confusing for people.
I agree.
Opening image. Yeah. Does the opening
Yeah,
image
yeah.
reference the protagonist in some way, who they are and what they, yeah, who they are and what they want? I'll send you this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
in here.
yeah. I would love
Cool.
it.
Cool.
Um,
Cool.
yeah, I mean, I have all these little articles and stuff I need to read about certain things that I've found on the internet that, oh, you need to read about plot points. And,
There's so much stuff to read.
there
At some
is.
point you just gotta write.
And somebody said, and one person online that does a whole lot of story structure stuff, and she will talk about that the inciting incident is parallel to the climax, is it? And so you need to see and then each point down is the same.
They have echoes of one another. I've seen also where the inciting incident also echoes the all is lost in a way. They echo across anyway. But whatever. It makes sense if it's all related to the theme. They're going to echo one another because
Right,
they're all related to the theme. So
right. And hopefully your story is all related to the theme.
right, yeah, because if you got stuff in there that isn't, then you have a problem. Okay. So redemption is growing on you for your internal
Well, I
arc.
looked up the obligatory
Yep.
things and
Yep.
stuff, and I thought, I can see having that. I mean, I think they were talking about having a spiritual mentor. I think her mentor really is Buck.
That's the neighbor, right?
That's the neighbor who used to
Yeah.
be a rodeo clown
Perfect. Oh, I love that for a mentor.
and now
Right?
works at the hardware store and got Buck and got Jason hired. And
Good.
I might have to have him come into the story a little bit more just to be,
Yeah.
but he is there for she's
Mhm.
picking out paint because she's hired him. And so she tells Buck about hiring him. She hasn't told her
Yeah.
family, but she knows, and Buck is the one to go. So what does your family think? Oh, they don't know. Oh, okay. And
Yeah,
so,
Buck's got a roll. Yep. Yep. That
so
sounds good.
it always cracked me up when they say sometimes shapeshifters can be mentors. And I said, I don't want Buck to be anything but a mentor. I
Yeah, I don't
just want him
like
to be a solid.
blending. I don't like blending shapeshifter with mentor because I think when you need a mentor, you're confused enough. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. What else would you like to talk about today?
It's interesting to me how quickly I can get off track, like when I wake up at 4 in the morning and I won't say that I sleep great.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of times that I'm not really worried about anything, but then you're just lying there. So you go,
Hmm.
and you think you're being rational because you're not really worried about anything. And then stuff comes up, and everything that I look at is just down the
Oh,
tubes.
oh
And
no.
so I find it so interesting how quickly I can get derailed from writing and feeling like it's a
Mhm.
passion. I heard there were a couple of people at the coffee house thing talking about sitting and knowing that this is right where God wants you to be.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know if I know that.
Yeah, I don't know that. I take a different approach. I think it's the Stephen Pressfield. Oh, it's not even Stephen Pressfield because he's like points a cannon at himself before he writes, but it's blue collar. I show up, I sit down, I write. I treat it as a job. I don't and I've had, you know, I've had punch cards I've needed to punch for work. So I know what that's like. You punch in, you show up
Right.
in the kitchen, you do what you got to do, you punch out. Yeah. And I separate my feelings because it doesn't really matter how I feel. When I show up at work, nobody cares how I feel. I got to do the work.
Right.
So it's
Right.
the same thing with my writing desk. But I also like the way, depending on what I'm doing, I sit in a different place. So when I'm doing my creative thinking or first drafting of the scene or just kind of blocking it out, I sit in a big stuffed chair and I have a thing I put on my lap that has a flat top desk kind of thing. And so I can write there. But then when I'm editing and stuff like that, I sit at my desk with my computer. I like not to be in front of my computer when I'm trying to think because I find it interferes with my thinking.
Well, I do find that writing by hand
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is really, really helpful. And
Mm-hmm.
I try to get away from that because I hear all that, "Well, just put it on your computer and stuff." But then I read people who go, I still go back to it's usually older people, thank you.
Yeah.
But
But it
they're
works. Our brains function differently when we handwrite versus when we
Mhm.
type.
Exactly.
And I have a brain that if I'm typing, I start worrying about spelling and grammar and punctuation. And I don't want to be thinking about those things when I'm drafting, creating.
Well, especially because I have one of those writing aids that tells you when you
Yeah.
forgot a comma and stuff.
It
Wait,
highlights it for
these
you.
are just notes. I'm just taking notes. I
Yeah.
wasn't, doing this for any.
Yeah. Leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
so I think maybe,
what would help you not go down the tubes or not, just because you said you sometimes you start thinking and then you start going down the drain tubes or
it is interesting how that works. I don't really know. I
okay.
mean, sometimes it's just like praying and just go and go do the next thing in front of you to do. Just
Yeah.
get up and go
Yeah.
do the next thing.
Yeah.
Just let it surrender. There's a great this well, she's not Roman Catholic anymore, but she really is. She still is so much. And she
Mhm.
was telling me about this novena was doing in some app that she had on a surrender. And it was, I surrender, was Jesus, I surrender everything to you. But my favorite part was take care of everything. That's how it is. Just take care of
Take
everything.
care of everything.
Like I
Yeah.
just can't. And she was talking about this. They recently moved to a smaller home and down the
Hmm.
hill and stuff from where we are.
Hmm.
And she said there was this light on somebody neighbor's house that shone onto her back patio, and she didn't like it, but she
Hmm.
wasn't going to go complain. She wasn't going to say, "Could you do something?" So she just kept praying this novena and said, "Change my attitude, change the way I see it, help me not to notice it, whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know what you're going to
Yeah.
do, what's going to happen." And
Yeah.
she goes, a week later, they changed the light bulb and
Ah,
made it just a lighter, less
nice.
glaring thing. And she goes, I don't know. It was taken care of.
I don't know.
I said, take care of everything, and it got taken care of. So that's
There
all
you
I know.
go. There you go.
And so
Oh,
it sort of seems like when I get like I can get that, then something happens, like I get together with you, or, that just
So,
something where
yeah,
you just go, oh, wait a second. Wait,
yeah.
let's
Wait a second. I
let's do
like
this.
this. I like what I'm doing. Actually, have fun
Y-
doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
I prefer doing it to not doing it.
I know. Isn't that the truth?
I
It's,
feel more productive, whether I've
mhm.
scrubbed the floors and cleaned the
Yeah,
bathrooms
yeah,
and
yeah,
cooked a couple of dinners. I feel more productive if I've done something where
yes,
I finished this chapter, I got this figured
yeah,
out.
yeah,
I find AI is very helpful as far as looking at the 5 C's and making
yeah,
sure they're all there
yep,
and ways to think about improving it. I don't always agree with it, but um,
yeah.
which is good. I
But
used
it
to
gets you
think,
thinking. Yeah.
but it gets me thinking that, yeah, of how can I do this a little bit better? And
Hmm.
then I just find that really, if I just keep doing that,
Yeah.
I've made it to, I mean, I'm rewriting, so I've rewritten 100 times. They say stop, just keep going, keep going, keep going, don't go back. But my first quarter of the book is really solid,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm
Good.
going to the first half of my book,
Yay.
and I'm going to have that. And I'm in a couple of trios. I was in
Mm-hmm.
another trio and one
Yep.
person dropped out, so it's just one other person in me.
Okay.
But we still meet every couple of
Great.
weeks and
Great.
just look at something, and I get their take, and then I have my original trio,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which gets complicated because people's lives change and they're doing different stuff, but they're so far
Yep.
everybody's showing up. They still show
Okay.
up. So
Good.
that's good.
Good.
Just to get some feedback and to know
Mm-hmm.
if I'm going in the right direction. And I've got one person who really is so totally enamored with my story that
Yay.
that's really helpful.
It is. It's very helpful. Good. And I feel like you have your story blocked out. I mean, you
Yeah,
know how it's going, and
I do.
so
I do.
yeah.
And really it comes down to uh it can't, because my first draft was way over 80,000 words.
Okay.
So it
That's
can't
actually
be
a good thing because it's easier to cut than
right, right.
to
Well, but so now when I was having a problem with with Jane and what she should do, and I didn't want
yeah.
it to be too many words, and I go, sum it up, baby. Just sum it up.
Sum it
We
up.
don't have to have a whole scene of her doing this. We just have to
No.
know what happened after the
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
And I go,
Yeah.
that takes a whole weight off my shoulders of
Isn't
how am
that
I going to get
nice?
this information in? How am I going
Yeah.
to get this about her family? Well, we don't have to live it.
No, we don't have to shoe leather our way through it. Mm-mm. No.
And I do find when I read other people's stuff, that's my biggest thing is, why are you telling me all of this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And because we all have a tendency to do that.
We do. We tend to overestimate the information our reader needs to understand. They need so little. They
Right.
really.
All right. That's perfect. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you so
Thank
much.
you, Andy. Have a good
Right.
rest of the day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was our third conversation with Annie, and you can see that she's wrestling with some questions. There's a lot that's clear for her. She's very sure about the beginning. She thinks she's got a good solid midpoint now. And she is liking the idea of using or having redemption as that internal story dynamic. But as she's looking ahead to the dig down deeper, not quite sure, not sure exactly what it will be, but she is sure about the criteria for what happens during that point. So we'll come back for one more conversation number 4, and you will see, what does Annie decide? Does she resolve her challenge or actually her protagonist's challenge? If you want to be sure not to miss out, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Thank you for being here. Tally ho.